Hi, this is Babe the Farmer's Daughter, and you're listening to In Your Head.
Welcome to In Your Head Wrestling Radio. I'm the internet icon, handsome Jackie Jones, and I'm joined by stars of the original Glow, gorgeous ladies of wrestling, Major Tanya and Lightning. Welcome to In Your Head.
How's it going? Thank you for having us on. This is Lightning.
Excellent.
This is Major Tanya, and I'm going to talk like a Russian for a moment.
Mm-hmm. No, since you're going to do that, how did you get into the Russian role? How did you come up with the Russian speak?
Well, I will start with a little bit of Major Tanya rap, and that will get you reminded I am Tanya from USSR, because there was a USSR. And I came, now I'm messing up my rap. Okay, I am Tanya from USSR, and I come to show you how tough we are. Military major, secrets I know, you get in my way, and down you go. I got one more verse that I think's fun. My strategy's clever, tactics strong, think you're better, and yet you're wrong. I throw you, crush you, break your bones. I use no gimmick, power alone. But actually, I'm a mirror.
Now, who did you come up with your own raps, both of you, Lightning and Tanya? Or were they
well,
written?
I was saying,
came up with it.
yeah, they were writing a rap for anybody who didn't have their own rap. They said you can come up with your own raps. We'll have one for you too. But I wrote multiple raps besides the one rap that they wrote for us. They wrote a joint, I think one that was Thunder and I did like two pieces and then together. And I wanted to do more than that. And some of the girls, like Tanya, were writing more raps. So a lot of the girls wrote their own raps, and a lot of the girls just settled for whatever single rap that they came up for their character. Because it was really hard. I mean, to write raps, it wasn't an easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had written all of the raps. I wasn't given any raps, but I had spent a lot of time researching Russia, and I had been hired into Glow to be a Russian. So I already had a lot of material and backstories and things because I had done POW, where I was replacing the Colonel Anushka character as the Glow Crown because it was a spin-off from the first two seasons of Glow. Mm-hmm. Can you follow all that? It's usually, it sounds as confusing as it is.
Nope.
You know, you're Tanya, or Tanya Noel, you're the reason why because we would talk and stuff, but you were the one that told me to investigate, and you probably, I never thought about that, you probably instigated the Lightning character, because at the time, they had picked characters for everybody but me. And I
remember. You were the one that Matt Simber said looked like a Sicilian funeral. And somebody recently had that in an article. They don't say it was you. And I remember I got in the ring with you because at that point I was helping with some of the training. And I said, you got to move fast, girl, because you're little. Move fast like lightning. and then the next time we did a match for Matt, and you were moving really fast. And I think came out of that was the Lightning. Once you started,
well, you told me,
like obvious.
It was not even that. You actually told me, because Matt said that to me during a mini match. He said that I was less entertaining than a Sicilian funeral, or more boring than a Sicilian funeral. Something like that. But everybody had.
You're being Italian.
Yeah, well, everybody had characters. It's hard to come up with a persona or be somebody when I wasn't anybody yet. Other than me, I was just wrestling, and that's why. How can you have this character if you don't know who you are other than you are yourself? But you told me do a play on your name, because my last name was RUSA. Say you're like power and like the United States of America and fight for the USA, and that's what you told me.
Well,
and I started.
You had the cartoon for like Minnie Mouse, and I said,
yes,
you have already identified Minnie Mouse, and I said, why don't you take that kind of idea for Matt to see that you're maybe little but you're powerful, and you had a T-shirt.
Yeah, you're talking about Mighty Mouse. It was Mighty Mouse. Yes.
Yeah.
But that gave me something to. No, but it gave me something to glom onto, at least, to drive out, and that drove them to think of that character.
Yeah, you would come out there and you would show those muscles, and your guns were amazing. So you come out and show everybody your guns, and then we got you moving fast, and I had so much fun throwing you around. Remember, we would go work out in the gym, and I would put you up on my shoulders and do squats. That was so fun. I wish somebody had filmed that. That was hysterical.
I know. I always say this, that we were before our times. They have all these reality shows and stuff out there. Mm-hmm. If there were cameras rolling 24/7 on us, it would have been better or as good as the top-rated reality shows out there, because we were living this thing. We had we had meetings, and we had challenges, and we had curfew and all this stuff that could have driven a whole behind-the-scenes reality thing if anybody was thinking that way at the time. I think they barely started doing Big Brother at that time, or Big Brother was just starting up.
You mentioned Matt a couple times. For people who don't know, who is Matt?
Oh, Matt Simber was
the director
for G.L.O.W.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also one of the creators of the show.
Yeah.
Helped develop the show.
Mm-hmm. Is he at
driving
all
force behind our torture?
Is he at all like the Mark Maron Sam character on the current Netflix TV show?
All right, well, let Cheryl say something she's got, and then I'll say something, because I think I have different thoughts. So you go first, Cheryl.
All right. Well, say that again. I didn't hear what you said exactly.
Was Matt anything like the current Sam character played by Mark Maron on the Netflix G.L.O.W. TV series?
Well, I know they're trying to make him like Matt, or what they picture in his head about Matt, but it's a comic book version. It's not him. You know what I mean? They've got him chain smoking and constantly snorting cocaine, and it's not. He's not elegant. I don't know how to explain it.
More crass.
Matt was not crass, like, at least not in that way. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like a slobby version of him, a slobby, loose. I don't know how to explain that. That's the only thing I could think of. It's like a not real version of him. I don't know, comic book version. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh because it probably just distorts. But yeah, that's fiction. But I'm laughing, Cheryl, because I saw when you were at the viewing party and you guys started calling him elegant, and I just about coughed up a lung, because I would never describe him as elegant, and I just started laughing. I was like, elegant? Matt Simber? That's like rewriting. I don't know if that's you know? I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like the difference between the difference between what's that show where the guy's a slob and the guy's a neat freak?
The Odd Couple.
Yeah. Yes, and I wouldn't call Matt the neat freak, but Matt wasn't a slob like that guy was. They make him to be
He's kind of a sleazy guy
really,
and stuff on the show.
Yeah. Let me know when it's my turn.
It's your turn. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, honey.
Maybe you just
I'm
saw
sure you
different
got
sides of it.
plenty because I lived it too. I understand. I just didn't know how to explain things.
No, that's fine. I find it helpful what you said. But since I wrote a review and put it on my Facebook, and I tried to find a way to not only talk about the character of the director Sam, but also how all of the different characters, because there was only 14 girls, I think, right, in the original first few seasons, I think. And we had, over 35 or 40 women over the 3 seasons. And even
36, 38, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. But in the original show and the way it started out, there were less. And then my experience with POW, which felt a little bit more like the show, was more like the way POW came together, except that the women had already been doing G.L.O.W. But anyway, to talk about the Sam character, I think that he was also a combined cluster because they left out David McLean, and David McLean was very much a part of the vision of the show, not just Matt.
Yeah.
He envisioned the women. And
I thought the blonde-headed guy...
They left out Steve. They didn't have Steve, the writer, and he was very much about some of the kind of off-color sketches, and so they put that into the Sam character, being a writer. And they left out the important influence that Queenie, also known as Matilda the Hun, because she had come from a background of being a female wrestler in a arena where there were no place for female wrestlers. So she had a vision of a show of all females. So all of that kind of got combined into this one character, and I think they gave him some really outstanding flaws because Matt Cimber had some very outstanding flaws, of which I can't really talk about without getting in trouble. And so they gave him a fictional character that had some addiction, that had some character flaws, that had some issues, so that we could see how he was struggling and just kind of add to the whole thing that this is a Netflix production, and so it's fiction.
As a show, I think they're trying to create, just develop the characters, and I love that about any show when the characters are developed fully, because you and I lived it. It's like I can't help but think, well, that's not the way it happened in my head. I have to, when I watch the show, I've seen all 10 episodes.
I was just going to ask that. Yeah. So have you seen some of you in any of the episodes or characters?
Well, everybody keeps comparing me to the girl that's playing I think she's playing like a conglomeration of you and Nunutska. They see lightning in her as well. Yes, I think that's more of a look. I think that's more of a look thing. But but there is something that. Yeah, but I think it's the way she looks. She's very petite. She's got the brown hair and the light eyes.
She was going to be more like an attaché, because attaché is also a heel. She has more of a build, and the way she wrestles is even actually a little more like that.
Well, there's something she did say that reminded me of G.L.O.W, and I mentioned it, touched on it earlier. She was freaking out because she didn't have a name.
Yeah, she was. That's where you related. Yes, she didn't know who she was, and everybody else had, and that's where you were. See, so I knew that.
Yes, it totally.
Doesn't that make it more fun to watch when you start going, "Oh my gosh, that's like me"?
Correct. Yes, that I went, whoa, shit, because we've done multiple interviews over the years. There's all kinds of print on the stuff on what we've done. Sure. I'm sure they checked other sources. It makes me wonder if they talked to the guys who did the documentary or saw any raw footage from that. But
Yeah, well, from what
that
I've heard,
was basically happened to me, you know.
Mm-hmm. So would you say
well,
Go on.
Oh, can I? I just was going to say, and for me, the first 4 episodes up to that point where there was no Russian character, I was enjoying it because I realized right away it was fictional and it was just going to, you know, just kind of take the ride. But I was also disappointed. And then when she turned up at that promo event and started doing the whole Russian thing, and then when she was in the car doing the Russian, that was like that was me. And from then on, and at the same time, I'm nothing like Ruth, and I would never be a homebreaker and all that other stuff. Right. But when I started seeing the Russian character, I immediately enjoyed. From then on, I really enjoyed the show. So the fact that there was something that I could see in me, it made it more fun for me. So that's why I'm asking. So for Lightning, for you seeing that you had to wait so long, she had like, who am I? What am I? And you went through that. So I think that
yes, I identified with that definitely.
Probably, yeah. Isn't that more fun when you see that and you realize that none of these characters are us? And in a way, if they were, then it would probably be really uncomfortable because it would be all wrong. Right. But since they're not us, we see pieces of what we went through. It's really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. And they did. I can understand after why they didn't want to, like, I know they specifically, okay, here's a Russian, here's a map character. I think they don't want somebody to go your
a certain character.
What's it called? Well, if it's specifically me and stuff like.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a horror? Obviously, you didn't sleep with some guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right, that's portraying you in some light, you know.
It gives them more freedom with the character to do different things if they don't give them the actual names of the characters. Because then if they
Melrose,
change, you know.
Melrose seems to me like Hollywood, Vine, and MTV rolled in one ball.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But then what she's doing in the way she is actually nothing like those real women, but the fun stuff like you, the one wearing innerwear for outerwear. You know, those fun little lines and things that was like so Hollywood and Vine.
Yeah, the writing is great. I was a little bored with like within the first 4 episodes, I'd say it was a little slow, but I know they were trying to develop characters and stuff, and then it got more interesting after that. Mm-hmm. I liked the show.
I was hooked once she turned Russian. I was surprised because I didn't think she could be the Russian because she's so little. I was trying to figure out who was going to be the Russian, and I was, you know, kind of going, come on already. And then I was so surprised it was her. I'm glad I was surprised, but then I was so hooked in the show, and you know, I was all in except there was.
And then they got the wolf chick. They have the wolf chick, which reminds me of dementia.
Yeah, now Gremlina thinks that's her, but I think that's dementia. So again, you know, there's a combination where there is some Gremlina in that, but these again are supposed to be the very beginning of G.L.O.W, the early characters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe that's why I think of dementia. But the cage,
we're not letting Neil get
they had her in a cage, or didn't they wheel her out in a cage or something?
Yeah,
that reminded me of dementia.
Yeah.
What it sounds like to me
is... And
the
dark, crazy eyes.
Yeah. What sounds like to me, it's like the characters are kind of, you know, like you said, combinations of different characters and different elements of different characters, like different even looks or different stories they read.
I think they're trying to avoid. I think they're trying to avoid defamation of character stuff. And I think they didn't want us involved in it because they wanted to do their own thing.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the show wanted, even if you know you could see different people and different characters, do you think the show captured the actual feel of G.L.O.W and like what it was to be part of it and to train for it?
You go first, Cheryl.
Well, it had a couple of moments, but no, I don't think that. It's just feelings that you have inside you. I mean, you can't you can't quantify that on a screen. I don't know how to explain that. I did get a great feeling when they all started joining together to sing in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
That was a nice feeling. Yeah, but we were like under so much pressure and so much stress, and just, I don't know. It's like I was saying to somebody the other day, you're in line. Starts out like 100 girls, and then somebody can't even do a forward roll, and she gets kicked out. Somebody breaks an arm, and they get kicked out. In the meantime, we're in this line, lining up around the ring, doing learning moves day after day, and somebody gets injured really badly, and you can't help but thinking, when they get injured, everybody's like, oh my God, she got hurt. And in the back of your head, you're thinking, well, that's one less person. Okay, I'm still here. I'm still in it. But then you're up next and you're thinking, damn, is that going to happen to me? Mm-hmm. So, and then we're working, what was our call? It was like 8 or 9 a.m., 4 hours, and then a break, and then 4 hours, and then a long improv class meeting thing at the evening. We'd get cut at about 11 o'clock and have to be in bed by midnight, or be in the apartments by midnight was curfew, right?
Yeah, well, because then we had to get up again and be back at 8 in the morning, or sometimes 7, or if I wanted to do the gym, I had to figure that out and go at 6 a.m.
Yeah, I actually was in the gym constantly before that, and I purposely did not lift one weight that whole first month of training, because I wanted to see what I was doing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I trained so hard in the gym, it's not going to make a difference if I took a month off. But it helped me.
8 hours a day, so yeah, we were doing.
Yeah, correct. It was just different.
We were training our bodies differently, because you had done weight training and I had done weight training, but I'd also done wrestling, because I'd already done POW. So I already knew how different it was for my body. I needed to be more bulked up in order to be able to take the abuse in the ring. And if I got too thin and just muscle, then I couldn't take all those bumps. And I think you learned that too. We couldn't be real cut, because you had to have the more, fat to just take the beating. But we were also
your body
working out 8 hours a day, so we were dropping weight from doing that too.
Yeah. The thing is that I couldn't have come in there. You were great too, because of the shape you were in, because you knew. But I couldn't have been more perfect in shape for that, what we walked into. I had no idea exactly what it would entail. I just knew when I saw it on TV and was interested in it in the first place, that was like stuff I knew I could do, like looking at a little kid going, I could do that, and jumping off of a wall or something. I just knew that what I was physically seeing, I was capable in my head. I could see my body making those positions and moves. Mm-hmm. And and training wise, a lot of the girls wanted to do it, and they were there. They got guts. They weren't in shape at all. I can't believe somebody so out of shape would have the guts to even audition for the show.
Well,
and
that was part of the fun of the Netflix thing, is that they did bring in, I think that the idea, and I know this came from Ursula's view of it, and they even put this in the reviews, a bunch of misfits. So we had characters in the Netflix that had never acted, but they kind of wished they were actors. There were some that didn't know how to be social, and then there were some that didn't know how to do a forward roll, a backward roll, and didn't know how to do a push-up.
Well, that really happened.
That was true. We had girls like that, but they were all willing to stick around and try and do it. And so that came across in the Netflix thing. It was just all these women thrown together, and it was like low budget, and just start learning to wrestle. The one thing I was disappointed though is that they had the trainer at the first episode, and they got rid of him, because we had some serious training, and we had some men wrestlers in there training us.
Well,
And I wish they hadn't have pulled that out, because then it was like they were all just faking it from then on and trying to figure out how to wrestle. And we had to learn how to wrestle.
I think they were jumping the gun on that, because the first original girls had X amount of weeks, a couple of months of training, X amount of days a week with the professionals, and then Matt did cut the trainer when everything moved to Vegas.
They had him out of there one day, and the cherry bomb character, it sort of was more like a Dallas character. At least she had some experience, but they were
they condensed
it up. They hadn't learned anything, so they made it like they're making it up. And I would have appreciated if they had shown that all these women who had no clue what wrestling was, had no clue how to do anything, and by episode 10 and by the first show, they actually learned to do some wrestling moves. Some of them were really good and some of them were really bad, but, we weren't pretending to be wrestlers. We actually had to learn to do wrestling moves before we did a show. We weren't pretending to do wrestling moves. Yeah. And so that was one of my disappointments in so far.
Yeah, I think and I thought that too. I thought that, that actually is a fact, but they did it right off the bat, which seemed weird to me. But then that's probably what they wanted. They probably just didn't want another guy, this guy. They can't keep him around because they got to give him a daily every time he comes in there on screen. That was probably a financial thing,
Yeah, that was an actual wrestler who was like a cameo, so a lot of wrestling fans were happy to see that. Johnny Nitro. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when you guys started to wrestle,
something else, Neil, I wanted to add to your question.
Sure.
Was I think maybe season 2 they can bring this element in, but I think that not having it in Las Vegas, there's a whole nother element that is missing from the experience that was unique about G.L.O.W. being a show that started, and they put it in a casino, and they had it up in one of these little showrooms when it first started, and they didn't know, how that was going to go over. And by having them in a hotel, motel in the valley, and then they're just rented a hotel room to do the episode 10 where they finally have the first show, that's more like POW. Because POW didn't have any home. There was a guy with money, and then the money ran out. Yeah. So that's when, again, I saw POW in it. And whereas G.L.O.W. belonged to the Riviera Hotel, and if they move this show, season 2, to Las Vegas and have it connected to a casino, there's a whole nother flavor and element that's very unique about G.L.O.W. that is missing from Netflix at this point because the way they set it up.
Yeah.
So that I hope they bring that element in, and especially they can have a lot of fun with it as long as they don't use any real names.
Well, Lightning mentioned.
Well, again, there's that defamation character thing. I think that's what they're trying to do to avoid.
Well, they've already made it really clear. They've made it really clear that none of these characters are any of the real people. So they might as well take it to Las Vegas and go deeper and darker.
Yeah, as they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So
exactly. But it'll make for great television drama if you're willing to tell the story.
Well, Lightning.
I do like that it's a 30-minute thing too. That's 30 minutes. I kind of like that. Mm-hmm. And I like the dramedy about it. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
You mentioned curfew a few times. Was that because you were in Vegas and they wanted to keep the girls out of staying out at night and getting in trouble?
It was a few things. I'm sure it was about control, and it was about getting rest, because we're at that age where girls were doing stupid stuff like clubbing and not, you're talking about a bunch of 21-year-olds old enough to go and drink and get all screwed up. And
we were in training, and you got to remember the safety issues, because I know I had a situation somewhere down the line on tour where I had to wrestle a girl that was hungover. And it's very, very dangerous when your head is upside down and someone can drop you on your head. Yeah. And they are not.
I know, we were doing.
So there's no way
we were doing moves that could break a neck.
And we were doing 12 hours a day. I mean, we started and we would finish at 11 o'clock because of the stupid stuff we did at night, the crazy sketches and drama training and that whole crazy thing. So if we went out, then the next morning, and then we get in the ring in the afternoon, and the girls are hungover. I mean, at least somebody knew that would not make any sense.
Yes, yeah, and it didn't. I mean, I wasn't a big night owl at that point, but there were girls that partied. You know, I know they were doing coke or smoking weed or drinking. It's not like they were like going for it. A couple of girls that at the beginning of my training, when you were there, they disappeared. I mean, they got booted basically, and that was because of drugs. He even booted a girl that she was really weak, and he didn't know why at the time. But okay, of course, now we find out that she was recovering or just recovered from cancer. So she was weak because of that. She just wasn't well yet. She wasn't strong yet after her cancer treatments and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that was the girl that was going to be Magnolia. At least somebody else said that. Don't quote me. I mean, you could check the facts on that. But she was a sweet girl. I didn't know why she was gone. I know she wasn't very strong, but I find out this after the fact, and then all of a sudden it made sense, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Real pretty. She was going to be
Neil,
another Southern Belle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Neil, you talk with wrestlers all the time. I don't know if you've done any wrestling, but anybody that's listening that understands that wrestling really is a team effort. And that was another thing I did like about the G.L.O.W, the Neftlix G.L.O.W, was they did a whole spiel of pointing out that the face is only as good as the heel makes them look. Right. And the same thing again with you're only as good as your weakest move. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you can't do a suplex if the other person doesn't have the strength to, you know, lift you up. Mm-hmm. So all of this again is we were very interdependent on each other, and so when we had the weaker character or weaker women, human beings that didn't know how to train or didn't want to commit to it, then that weakened the whole show, and that weakened the athleticism of it. That is still underestimated or you know not. I still don't think, you know, we weren't not up to the standards of for instance, Tina Ferrari. She went on to WWE, became Ivy, and that she started off as a wrestler and a bodybuilder, and then she still had to up it again to get to that level. Mm-hmm. So,
well, she didn't start out. Tina didn't start out as a wrestler, though.
I think she did. She had done some.
No.
Wrestling.
She started out as she was a dancer for the Raiders cheerleader, but she was a professional dancer. That's where her strength and stamina came from. The wrestling came from G.L.O.W, and then it expanded from there. She actually retired from wrestling for almost a decade. And then she got a call to do some one-shot deal for WWE, and that led to her coming back and becoming Ivory, which I found that very fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, that is.
Yeah, but she was strong. You saw her in the early G.L.O.W videos, how strong she was.
Mm-hmm. I wrestled her. You know how? I was her heel, and she was tough, man. When she did that figure 4 leg lock on me, I thought my leg was going to pop. I didn't have to fake pain. I was like, I could barely walk after that match. I was not acting. She made sure I was going to scream.
You know, the hard part of that move is not lock. Well, with me, I'm so little. Mm-hmm. People try to lock me down and they can't hook it in because my legs were short, but or short for compared to the other girls' legs. I'm not short-legged. Yeah. By any means, I'm just little. Uh-huh. But the way you cross and hook to the shin. Mm-hmm. it's really, really, really hard to do that and not get pain. It's just a move you can't do without pain.
Right.
Right. Well, and especially then when you roll over, you're in the lock, and then she rolled me over, and then she rolled me back, and she rolled me over, and I would like my knee to survive. Oh my God. Yes.
And it feels like a bar going across your shin. It feels like wood, like pushing against your shin.
Mm-hmm.
Like because of your bone, you could feel the bone. But you could feel the bone going against your bone, and right, bone to bone on the right.
Uh-huh.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm worried about my knee because I blew my knee out skiing. So I was like, man, do not blow my knee out. That's it.
Yeah. I would worry about the a cradle, upside down cradle. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I'm in a back bend position and being kicked up in the air, legs wrapped and then arms wrapped back. It's kind of like a back bend up in the air position.
Yeah, no, I know what it is. Yeah.
That one was the leg thing would kill. It's the same thing. The legs would kill me because of the position, and it would be a lot of stress on the knees. A lot of knee stress.
So was the actual wrestling something that you both enjoyed, and did either of you think of pursuing wrestling after G.L.O.W. ended, or was the actual wrestling something you weren't a fan of?
I love the wrestling. You want to do this one at a time?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll
again.
go first. Let me go first.
Okay, go ahead, honey.
I can actually segue into Cheryl, what I know about Cheryl.
Okay, go ahead.
I enjoyed the wrestling when I wrestled with women that were of my similar size, which was very few. I was, very big and very strong. When I got to wrestle with, and most of the time the heels, so it was only in sparring. But when I could wrestle with the Nanuchka when she defected, but she was always trying to upstage me. But when we actually were wrestling, it was really fun, and we would do some challenging stuff. And I really enjoyed, though, also wrestling with Lightning. We had so much fun because we were friends, and I could throw her around, and we could just do some really fun stuff. And I enjoyed wrestling with Babe because she appreciated my strength, and so I could do a lot of power moves and stuff with her, and she would sell them really well. So in the context of the show and playing my character, I really enjoyed being a heel and being able to use my strength and being able to play straight and get. I ended up having a cheering section, so it was kind of like they stopped booing and just started yelling, Tanya, Tanya, and I was like, that I kind of like that. It was better than just the boos.
Right.
But I knew I was doing my job and having fun with that because for me, Tanya is nothing like me. So I really became this other character, and then I could pretend I was this super athlete that only in my dreams, So I pretend I was this, kind of superwoman, badass, and it was a lot of fun. But I had no desire to continue to do wrestling after that but I did want to do stunts, and I wanted to do acting in films like Action. That part of why I did the wrestling was as an actress, I thought it would make me more marketable to do like action female films that hadn't happened. Like, there was no, what's her name, Tomb Raider, and, there were not the women actresses doing their own stunts and being very strong and powerful back in the late 80s, 90s. And that's the kind of thing I kind of had thought I would do, wanted to do, and things happened in my life where I didn't get to. But with Cheryl, I remember that you being so athletic and being smaller in stature, you had a great opportunity to do stunt work because you would be marketable with your size and you would be able to get work. And then you went into doing this stuff with the horses and the riding, and so you created a whole nother area that you could use for stunt riding. So now I'll turn that over to you, Cheryl.
And back in the day when I first was going to do this show, I was thinking, can I do this? I mean, I thought I could physically do whatever needed to be done, but I was in a cast when I was a kid. I had multiple surgeries on my hip, and I was on the Crippled Children's Fund. And I was told as a child, or told my parents when I was sitting there like I didn't understand what was being said, that I should get a sit-down job. They should train me to be a secretary or a receptionist or something. Mm-hmm. And it just made me angry and depressed, I suppose, but I didn't realize that. Nobody talked about people being depressed back then, mm-hmm. at least not in our family. Mm-hmm. I just went along with the family program and eventually got out of that cast and was running around being a tomboy like I was before I got into that cast, doing stuff like jumping off roofs and setting up ramps at the bottom of hills and jumping ramps on my bicycle. And I was my brother's little brother, basically. And right. So I started training, lifting weights and stuff when I was just out of high school because I wanted to be strong and in great shape. I already was really strong upper body wise because of that cast. I built these arms because I could only drag myself around in the cast. I had to use my upper body to drag myself around the house. Mm-hmm. I couldn't stand. I couldn't use my legs. But I had a fear of, like you had a fear of injuring your knee. I had a fear of injuring my hip. You know, I'm thinking, can my body do this? Yeah. And and when I was going to that, when I made all the cuts and I was going to go to that last audition when we were going to go to Vegas, I thought to myself, oh, but can I do this? Am I like fooling myself in the back of my head? And then just like a little light bulb pops over my head and it said to me, if you never try, you'll never know. If you never try, how will you ever know? And then every day I had that stress on me. Every day when people would get injured and we were learning and training and stuff, but I had so much fun doing it. I was in pain when we were wrestling. I had always been in pain since I was a kid because of my leg. But when I would wrestle in the ring and we'd be moving around, it would give me adrenaline and it was a rush and it would erase pain. Mm-hmm. The adrenaline erased pain. And that felt good to not be in pain. Mm-hmm. So one of the other reasons I enjoyed wrestling, not being in pain, but I thought it was so much fun. You can even if you catch some of the old footage when I'm being thrown, mm-hmm. they've got my voice screaming when I'm being thrown, and I might as well be yelling "wee" because I'm like a little kid being tossed up. Going down a roller coaster, they've got claps and stuff over it, but you listen, you'll hear me going, ah! Ah! Like a little kid being thrown up in the air and caught. I love to fly. And one of the reasons I loved working with somebody like Tanya, I'd fly and I know that she wouldn't crumble underneath me. A lot of girls, they'd fold underneath you, and now there's nothing to slow my descent down when you're flying. And you know, because I would jump over the top of people's heads. A lot of the girls, when they were starting to learn to be flyers, they would jump down. The second I got on that turnbuckle, I would jump up because I thought it'd be fun.
Right, and I remember working with you, and I knew you could do that. Yeah. It was like, don't worry, I'll catch you. Go, don't be afraid, just fly as high as you can.
How far out?
I will catch you. Yeah, like
yep, and
if you're short of the target, I will get there. There's enough time for me to move. I wasn't going to let you fall unless we determined that was part of the match.
Well, I don't even know if you remember this, but you helped me test how far out and up I could go to the middle of the ring.
Yeah, I remember.
You're like, can you go?
Like, okay, let's back further, and I kept going more and more. Yeah, and I go, don't worry, if you run short, I will move forward, but aim for me back. I remember because I knew you could fly. we had to, work it out. That was so much fun.
Yeah,
it was fun for me to.
We figured out my limitation, my how far out I could get.
Mm-hmm.
That was so much fun. But to answer your question, I know I'm long-winded. Yes, I loved wrestling, and I wanted to be an actress too, but I hooked up with some people who do bareback riding and circus bareback riding, and that's what Noelle was referring to earlier. I ended up being in circus vaulting called a rosin back.
Really? That's pretty
vaulting,
awesome.
standing on horses, standing on people, standing on horses.
Yeah.
And I kept running into stunt people who kept telling me I'd be a great stunt person, and I didn't even know what that was. I eventually figured that out and became a stunt person.
I told you that from the very beginning.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, but I didn't know. I'm like, well, whatever stunts are, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And but I also people figured out who I was somehow, and I started getting calls to wrestle. And I ended up hooking up with the original trainer for G.L.O.W, who was gone by the time I was there, Mondo Guerrero.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up over at the LPWA and wrestling for the LPWA, where I was getting my ass kicked by some expert wrestlers. But I got the training that I needed through a couple of girls, 2 or 3 girls that were working out of there that took me under their wing. Sue Sexton especially. She was the LPWA women's champion. Mm-hmm. She completed my training. And I realized how untrained I was when we were training together. She'd tell me, do you know how to do a specific move? And I'd be like, no. She said, you don't know this move. And it's some basic move. And then she showed it to me, and I knew the move. I just knew it incorrectly, and it was called, they started making up names of moves. They forgot the names of the moves.
Uh-huh.
So they were calling one thing was something else. So that was a whole other training in itself. But I became a full-blown card-carrying belt championship women for a couple of different leagues. I held belts for pro wrestler. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, spun that off into stunt work.
Yeah, very cool. And I want to know this because, as mentioned, I have a lot of wrestlers on the show, and a lot of them, especially wrestlers from the 80s, talk about female fans. Did G.L.O.W have like male groupies?
Oh, yeah,
we would be followed.
Uh-huh.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, we were followed. Guys.
We had a group of fans that would come to the live shows in Las Vegas, and there would definitely be a lot of men our same age. Then there would be a group of older men. And I know as far as the television show went, it was so strange how it would air at like 1 or 2 a.m. on a Sunday morning or a Saturday or something.
Uh-huh.
But we would also have young kids, really young kids, that their parents let them watch it. And so we had the young kids, and then there was enough TNA in it that we then had, the males that, probably just thought we were hot and watched it for that. And then we had the wrestling fans. So I think we had kind of a lot of mix. And then the girls, because it was all women, we would get girl fans that would not have otherwise watched male wrestling. Mm-hmm. So I still think
they'd come up to us
in that.
They'd come up to us and say they wanted to do this.
Oh, that's cool.
They wanted to be this.
Mm-hmm.
The girl fans were more like when I first was watching it and thinking I can do this. Mm-hmm. It just looked like something that would be great to do. Mm-hmm. That'd be fun. The tomboy girls loved this and wanted to do it.
Yeah. It was inspiring for them. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hey,
yes,
hey Neil,
totally.
Can we segue into my song?
Of course.
Because I was just thinking that the title of my song is Pretty Pain, and in addition to the tomboy girls wanting to wrestle, there was a place for the pretty girls, hence gorgeous ladies of wrestling, because we were no longer just the buff girls in wrestling, but we wore the makeup and the hair, and we had the cute little girls and all that, and we could all do the wrestling. So if you play my song,
Noelle, I gotta.
you gotta
I
hear
have a
my
question
song,
for
girl.
you.
Don't you go? Don't go. I want you to hear my song.
No, I'll go in a minute, but I wanted to ask you, who was your from the original girls? Who was your favorite? Who interested you?
What do you mean?
Who did you like? Like I really liked Chainsaw and Spike, and I liked that Sachet. She
You
flew.
mean like characters that you would want to be?
Yeah, when I was watching the show, that inspired me.
Oh, okay. Well, let's play my song, and I'll answer the question after my song. How's that?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Cool. Thanks, Neil.
Young and naive, no one loves. Wanna be somebody, rise above. Gonna be famous, things will change. When you see me, you'll call my name. I'll do whatever, take the blows. Bash me, bruise me, I'll let it go. You kind of woman, tough as nails. It's women's wrestling. I'm a gorgeous lady of glow. Yeah, I know I'm made. Oh, don't you know my name? I entertain, win or lose. That's what gorgeous ladies of wrestling do. That's what gorgeous ladies of wrestling do. Gorgeous lady of glow. Yeah, I know I'm made. Oh, don't you know my name? I entertain, win or lose. That's what gorgeous ladies of wrestling do. That's what gorgeous ladies of wrestling do. Give up your name. You can be great. Let go of fear. Don't hesitate. Be bigger
I know Lightning's got to
You
go,
were
so I
part
don't want to keep her too long here. But if you wanted to answer a question, who was your favorite Glow character before you became part of Glow?
That was for Tanya. I said
You said what?
Tanya?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm listening. You said something.
No, I already said it earlier. I loved Chainsaw and Spike, and I loved Attaché. Hollywood and Vine were cool too. I just liked the way Attaché flew, and I liked her tomboyness maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But Chainsaw and Spike, I loved their characters, and and their portrayal of the housewives were just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Tanya, did you
Now
have
that
one?
goes to you, Tanya.
Yeah. I think I just disconnected my headphone. No, you can hear me? You
Yeah.
still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I didn't have anyone because I was asked to be Nanuchka's replacement.
Mm-hmm.
So I began idolizing Nanuchka from the very beginning so I could be inspired.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as
then that
overall
was
wrestling and as a character, because that was nothing like me. Everybody'd always say I was so conservative. And I was most influenced and most hooked on wrestling when I saw the Honky Tonk Man live in a match in Indiana.
Oh yeah, I worked with him before.
I wanted to be the honky tonk lady.
Uh-huh.
that would have been, and there was nobody like that at Glow that literally could come out with a guitar and sing before the match, and then that would have been my dream character, and who knows, maybe I would have stayed in wrestling if I had that kind of character.
Then you would have had to get a Southern accent on. You would have been the honky tonk woman.
Oh, I
yeah.
honky tonk like you never knew. Yee-haw! Yeah, but not like the farmer daughter. No. It'd be about the music and the dancing and kind of putting dancing into the wrestling. But I had to represent the Russian and be very serious about my wrestling, and I would sit there and tell stories about the Bolsheviks, and stories about the KGB, and stories about the hard life in the Soviet Union, and carrying sacks of potato. I just did all the research and became that instead.
Uh-huh. That's real quick is now before after Glow ended and before the internet and the documentary came out now the show, were you aware that that people still followed Glow and people were still big fans of it? Or was it not until you got on the internet?
I've been on the internet since the mid-'90s, and there'd been a lot of fans and stuff that way through the internet, just emails and stuff. And I had an experience which was kind of awesome. I had an interview with a stunt coordinator. We were meeting at a restaurant, and this is years after Glow. Mm-hmm. And we get seated, and the host that seated us, like he said, he just stood there for a minute looking at me. And I'm like thinking, like, what's he doing? And then he says, "Are you Cheryl Russo?" And the first thought in my head was, what did I do? I'm thinking, what? I'm thinking, why? What? I've got this interview going. This guy's sitting here, and I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh my God, I love you. He starts going on and on about following me through Glow and LPWA and my wrestling career, and I'm like, wow, thanks. And then he asked me to sign an autograph. And then he finally leaves. The whole time the coordinator's just staring at me. Mm-hmm. And then we went on with this meeting, but it impressed him. It was like, I got the job, basically. But it was out of the blue. It was just really weird, that somebody would remember all that and follow me.
Yeah,
like, who the hell am I,
great. No, that's awesome. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a fun moment. The timing it was God timing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was funny. Anyway,
Yeah.
Well,
that's
I didn't have it- I
my
didn't have
fan
anything like
experience.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't have any experience like again. That's also though because I was so different than my character. So in regular life, when my hair went back to
Sure,
being kind
right.
of reddish, and I didn't talk with a Russian accent, and
Uh-huh.
I was a singer and doing pop music or doing spokesmodel and stuff, you would never envision Tanya, the Major Tanya, the Russian.
Mm-hmm.
And I also trimmed down so I wasn't so bulky and all that. So
Yeah.
so people, even if they did watch the show after, within a year, once it wasn't airing, there were very few people that ever acquainted that. And I found it was not helpful in job interviews for spokesmodel and stuff when they'd be like, oh, that's really nice, and, I did. And then they'd get to the back of my portfolio and see these pictures of Tanya, and they'd close my portfolio, so thank you very much. I think they got scared. So I found that it was not, because I wasn't doing stunt work, it was not helping me. And then in the music industry, people were not apparently, much into wrestling.
Yeah.
So
That's too bad.
It helped with my stunts, but when I was trying to do acting and when I was trying to pick up an agent, they didn't see me any which way because I'm so petite, but I'm muscular, and they actually told me to gain 20 or 30 pounds and get fat, and then they could use me in their agency. I'm like thinking to myself, I'm going to get fat. I ain't turn into a fat pig just for maybe an audition. I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you.
Right.
I know Lightning's going to go, so I want to thank both of you for being here. It's been a lot of fun talking to both of you.
Oh, it was very nice talking to you, and I definitely have to go. I'm at work.
Mm-hmm.
You caught me 8 minutes of this interview is on the job, so they're staring at me now.
okay.
Well, I apologize.
All right.
You can blame it on me. So.
That's okay. You can apologize.
Thank
Here,
your employers. We
here,
thank you.
Here,
Thank
apologize
you,
to my boss.
Cheryl employers, thank you very much for letting her stay for 8 more minutes.
Yes.
Oh, you're welcome.
Awesome.
All right, I'll talk to you. I talk to you guys. I'll see you.
Bye.
All right.
All right,
Be
take care.
safe.
That's great.
All right.
You as well.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, thank you, Tanya. It's been great, and you're welcome to come back anytime.
All right, I'm going to end with a little bit of my G.L.O.W rap.
Okay. Excellent.
All right?
Yep.
We'll go out with that. Some think I'm a heartless with no mercy. Opponents attack, but they cannot hurt me. Plan of destruction I have quite clear. Americans beware, defeat is near.
Awesome. Thank
Puny
you.
Americans, you have no hope. Tanya make you look like a dope. Superior Russian just begin. Piece of pie. I have the win. We'll leave it at that.
Awesome. That was great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil. Appreciate letting us talk your ears off or
That was great.
in your head.
Uh-huh.
And,
Yeah, exactly. You got in my
I
head.
hope that we get lots of listeners and keep in touch.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much. And take care.
You too.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, you guys, it's Hollywood from Wrestlelicious. Also, G.L.O.W. I just want to say you're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com. That is InYourHeadOnline.com. Thanks for stopping by.